Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel, and today we are going to be taking a look at a lot of brand new cards that got revealed while I was away in Charlotte, including a few cards that I didn't really get a chance to look at before I left, but we got a lot of new cards that are coming out in our second Scarlet and Violet set here that got revealed, including some pretty interesting new cards, including one that may make grass Pokemon good again. Definitely excited to look into that. If y'all are excited and want to go on to search for the video, leave a like on the video. If you haven't subbed to the second channel yet, make sure to click that subscribe button down below. But let's take a look here at what we got. So, first things first, we got a brand new Jumpluff line. Jumpluff has always had very interesting lines, and this one is no different. It's got the ability Float Away. Both Skiploom and Jumpluff have the ability Float Away, where if any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks, you flip a coin if heads, prevent that damage. Now, we've seen this before on Dragapult and Greninja from Detective Pikachu. We've seen it on Cinccino's before. Definitely an interesting ability. Now, Jumpluff does have the attack Fuzzy Wind. For 1 energy, does 60 damage, then 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So not a bad trade-off. I mean, 60 for 1 is not terrible. However, the damage definitely is not great. I mean, 60 isn't a whole lot of damage. I mean, I guess you have Choice Belt, and maybe you can play this with, like, some other engine to do more damage, but 60 for 1 is not the greatest ever, but it is fine because of the ability. It obviously is kind of going to be what gives Jumpluff the hope. Now, yes, Skiploom has the same ability, but I actually do not think this is the Skiploom you want to play. You want to play the Skiploom from Evolving Skies, where when you attach an energy from your hand to it, you can immediately evolve it into Jumpluff to get this thing into play right away. And I think that'll obviously be the optimal Skiploom to play over the Jumpluff, over this Skiploom, which essentially makes this Jumpluff like a Stage 1 Pokemon in effect, which is cool. Again, it's not the strongest attack ever. 60 for 1 is not great. Jumpluff will obviously just be a really fun little meme deck more than anything else. I don't think it's anything too serious or anything too crazy. Definitely a fun meme deck, but it's a pretty cool card nonetheless. And I mean, I like playing these decks with the ability where they potentially can't take damage. Then we got Forretress EX. This is definitely the most polarizing EX card maybe we've seen so far, to be honest. It's a very interesting card. It's got a really good ability. This is actually the first time we've had a really good Forretress card in a long time, and I like that. I like when Pokemon give Pokemon that don't really get many good cards, and Forretress is one of them. Now, it is a terrestrial, so keep that in mind, and this does actually give you the ability to maybe make grass Pokemon good again, as Forretress has the ability Explosive Energy, where once during turn, you may search your deck for up to 5 basic grass energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck if you search. However, Forretress is knocked out if you do the ability. So you do the ability, you get 5 grass energy out of your deck, put them on your Pokemon in any way you like. That's great. I mean, with all the grass Pokemon we can use, I mean, you could use it with Beedrill V, you could use it with Lilligant V-Star, you could even play it with Regidrago V-Stars. It doesn't specifically say grass Pokemon only, it only says grass energy. Now, this is great for grass decks. Grass Pokemon have always struggled for actually a long time now to be good again. I mean, we've had some decent grass, but overall, grass has just never been able to be good. I mean, if you got Gardenia's Vigor, Lilligant V-Star, Cherrim, Rillaboom, but, like, they never really allowed grass Pokemon to thrive as they could have, and Forretress might actually give them the ability to do that. Now, the effect is obviously you knock yourself out, so you give up 2 prizes in order to do this insanely strong ability. Now, giving up 2 prizes is actually fine. Your opponent will go down to 4 remaining. Hopefully, you're able to kind of just keep up momentum and win from there. Now, the thing with this is this card does synergize really well with the brand new Iono/N reprint that we just got. So, obviously, this ability does stack. It does allow you to do multiple in a turn, so if you end up going first and you can get 2 Pinecos down, the following turn you can get 2 Forretress in play, you can knock both out, to give your opponent 4 prizes in 1 turn, then play Iono and put your opponent down to a 2-card hand on your second turn of the game. So this is what people are a little worried about, is like, maybe they should have printed another knockout ability Pokemon, because it's on a 2-prizer, and it's very reminiscent of Electrode GX. Electrode GX is obviously a very powerful card in the expanded format, as it has a very similar ability where you're able to knock yourself out, give up 2 prizes, but accelerate energy. Now, thankfully, it's not grass energy, it's not any energy, so it's not that bad. I don't think there's any, like, super problematic grass Pokemon out there that this would work with as well, but still, the ability to basically do this twice in a turn and then put your opponent down to a 2-card hand with Iono is potentially a little toxic, I'm not gonna lie. It's not ideal. Right now, Forretress is being able to be shut off by cards like Path to the Peak, so that is one downside to playing Forretress, is if you're playing against a deck that, prioritizes heavy Path, you can get, locked out of the game for being able to do your ability, especially if you're relying very heavily on Forretress. Being shut off by Path to Peak is not ideal, but it is a pretty good ability nonetheless. And I mean, it's nice that grass Pokemon do have a decent support Pokemon now. Because I mean, we've had, bro, this is like the third grass energy accelerator we've had in the past like 2 years. And it's like, maybe finally grass Pokemon are going to be good with Forretress. But it is a pretty strong card, obviously. It is nice to see a good Forretress, but maybe they didn't have to make it Electro 2.0. But like, let me know in the comments below. What do you think of Forretress EX? I'm actually just curious to hear what y'all think of Forretress EX. I would love to hear down in the comments below what you think of this card. Do you think it's good for the game? Do you think it's fine? Do you think it's just kind of mid and won't really be that bad? I am curious to hear your opinion, because it definitely is a very interesting card for sure with that ability. And then, of course, we got another Grass EX Pokemon. We got Wooshiny X. Now, this is actually a really cool card with the attack Devouring Ivy, which requires 3 energy. Then the attack will do 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each prize your opponent has taken. So, very similar to Zygarde from Evolving Skies, where it does 40 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each prize they took. However, Wooshiny allows you to do 60 damage only to the bench, though. So that is the downside, is this only works in the bench, not just the active also. So that is a downside. Again, Manaphy is a thing that I think we'll still see play when this card gets released, and Manaphy will be able to block this card. However, if you're able to deal with Manaphy and they can't get Manaphy back for whatever reason, this can actually be a really good card. I mean, again, 60 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon is actually really strong. That stacks pretty quickly. If your opponent's taking 5 prizes, this is doing 300 damage, which is pretty crazy. I mean, 300 snipe is kind of ridiculous, not gonna lie, and it does get strong over time. I mean, even doing like 180 snipes, 240 snipes isn't terrible either. Now, you could obviously play this in a grass deck with like Forretress EX, or you could play it maybe in Lost Box. Could be a decent Lost Box partner. I'm not going to lie. You're able to use this in Lost Boxes. You're able to KO Manaphy with Sableye, and then you can come in with like a Woshine the following turn to take knockouts. Definitely a really interesting card, and I'm actually curious to see if it'll see play. So I think that snipe attack is genuinely pretty strong. I mean, you can combine it with like Escape Rope if you want to knock out the opponent's active Pokemon. You can play it with like Boss or Serena to like Gust to like put the Pokemon on the bench that you want to knock out with the attack Devouring Ivy. But definitely a really interesting card. It is held back a little bit by Manaphy, which kind of sucks, but it is interesting. Next up is Spiritomb. This is another interesting card. Now, for whatever reason, the translation's not here, so I did pull it up on Cerebi here, but Spiritomb has a very nasty ability with Scourge. As long as this Pokemon is in play, all basic V Pokemon have no abilities. That is a dirty ability. Now, the first thing you obviously will probably notice is that this is a great counter to Genesect V. It's almost like Pokemon just gave us another insane Mew counter, because we already got Drapion, and we had like cards like Mightyena, and now we're getting Spiritomb. This card is a basic Pokemon, so all you have to do is just grab it with like a Nest Ball or something, put it into play, and then shut off all of Genesect's ability. And when Mew doesn't have the ability to use Genesect, it is not very good. You can put 2 down if you want, so if your opponent tries to boss the Spiritomb to get Genesect, you'll have 2 in play. Definitely a very strong ability. Now, keep in mind, this does shut off your basic Vs, and it does shut off another basic V that is kind of good, and that is Drapion V, so you got to be a little cautious if you want to play like a super heavy anti-Mew deck. You know, you got to be a little careful. And there's other basic V Pokemon out there to shut off. It doesn't shut off EXs, which is nice. So, like, cards like Miraidon aren't going to be shut off or anything. So, that's kind of cool. It doesn't shut off Comfey or anything. So, it is like a worse Klefki in that regards. But it's definitely a pretty strong ability nonetheless. I mean, maybe this could actually be good in Lost Box to counter Empoleon. Because, funny enough, you could play this Pokemon in Lost Box to shut off Empoleon's ability so that you can use Flower Select. So, that's just kind of cool little stuff I just realized there. But yeah, I don't know, it's a pretty decent card. Its attack is okay. It does 1 for 10, and you put this card and all cards attached to it in your hand. So nothing crazy, but you know, if you ever need like a panic safe button, it is there. Yeah, that's a really strong ability regardless. Again, shutting off Genesect V is very good. And I'm glad that they, honestly, as someone who does not like Mew, I think Mew has always been a very bad card for the game. I'm glad they keep making ways to counter it, though they might be going a little overboard now with the counters. But you know what, I'm happy to see it, and it's definitely got its purposes in the format. I definitely think Spiritomb is good in more scenarios than just like countering Genesect. We got a new Murkrow here. Now, there's something to note about Murkrow and Flamigo, is that they have the same attack, Wings of Union, essentially bringing Night March back, or Mad Party. It does 20 damage for each Pokemon discard pile with the Wings of Union attack, and of course, Murkrow has it, Flamigo has it, and there's another Pokemon, I forget what it's called. There's another Pokemon. We looked at it, I think in the last video, actually, we just did, for the new card reveals in Clayburst with the new N reprint. But that also has the same attack. So you have 3 different Pokemon to choose from with the attack Wings of Union. It all works for 1 energy, too, which is kind of sick. Or at the very least, well, Actually, I lied. Pokebeach messed up here. One dark energy and then like a double turbo, but it's cool to see nonetheless. Now, the flock ability, I know it doesn't show up here on Pokebeach, but I'm pretty sure when you play this ability and when you play this Pokemon from your hand, you can actually search check for 3 more Flamigos. That's what the ability does, for the record. I know Pokebeach doesn't have it up, but it does let you search check for 3 Flamingos. I guess you can pull up Cerebi to see that. But yeah, Night March is kind of back. There's only 3 Pokemon to choose from at the moment, but maybe they'll make a 4th. So interesting nonetheless to see that come back. And then, of course, we got some new supporter. We got Guy Amico here. Discard a special energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. That's actually really strong. It's better than Flannery. Flannery discards a Stadium and a special energy. This just flat out discards all special energy. Well, not all, but a special energy on each Pokemon. So you get to discard more than 1 energy, as opposed to Flannery, which gets rid of 1. That's nice. I mean, if you're playing against, like, Lugia, which is still going to be good probably when the set releases, Lugia might have, like, 2 Pokemon in play with a bunch of energy on them. You can discard an energy from each of them, removing 2 energy from play, which is kind of cool. Definitely a really strong card. It is great to have for people who still like to play the control deck, so definitely really decent supporter nonetheless. Would have been interesting if it actually came out now. It also is good against Mew, by the way. It gets rid of Fusion Energy, gets rid of multiple Fusion Energy. So if your opponent's playing, you know, Meloetta and Sparkle, and they, like, put, like, you know, a Fusion Energy on, like, Genesect, Mew, Meloetta, try to spread it out, you can get rid of each of them, which is kind of cool. Like, it could be a Sudowoodo in some scenarios, which is kind of sweet. Then we got Snow Mountain of Disaster, new Stadium card. Whenever any player attaches an energy from their hand to one of their basic non-water Pokemon, you put 2 damage on it. So it's like another old cemetery, but for water Pokemon. Definitely an interesting stadium. Will be decent with the Rain Dance Stage 2 that we got, that we just looked at in the last video. Not bad. It's not the greatest stadium. These type of stadiums haven't really been that good. I mean, Old Cemetery never really even saw play when it came out, and it was good. It would have been good with, like, Dragapult, VMAX, but not even it was good there. So, like, I don't foresee this card being that good, because these type of stadiums don't really see a lot of play. We got another stadium, Wilderness of Disaster. The retreat cost of each basic Pokemon except fighting is 1 colorless more. So it's like a pseudo Silent Lab. Now, you want to know, this does actually synergize with Spidops, which is kind of funny. It's only on basic Pokemon, though, not evolution, so, like, it's not going to work on, like, the other Pokemon, but working on Spidops ain't bad at all. I definitely think this is actually a pretty playable card for Spidops, and it's okay. I mean, if you're going to play, like, a fighting deck, like, say you're playing, like, Great Tusk and, like, Koraidon, are you going to play this card? Probably not. I think you'd honestly rather just play, like, Beach Court or even, like, just another stadium like Path. Not the worst stadium ever. I don't know. It's not fantastic, though. Funny enough, it's going to be better with Spidops, which is a grass Pokemon, not a fighting Pokemon, which is what this card was designed for. We did some other cards here. We got a lot of cards that got revealed while I was away. We got Glamora Glimmet from Snow Hazard here. So Glamora is a stage 1 Pokemon with the ability Crystal Break. When this Pokemon is knocked out, flip a coin of heads. Your opponent can't take any prizes for knocking it out, which is actually kind of cool. It's kind of like reminds me of the jump up we just looked at, where, like, the jump up, you flip a coin of heads, it's not going to get knocked out. Where this card, you flip a coin of heads, you don't get a prize. So it's almost the same thing. The ability is obviously strong. It's a very interesting, like, stall tactic. Then you have Floral Spite. For 1 fighting, your opponent's active is now poisoned. During checkup, put 6 damage on instead of 1. So it's basically like the brand new Galarian Weezing, except the ability is not as good as Weezing's, where your opponent will still get abilities. But you could play this with, like, something funny, like you could play with the Spiritomb we just looked at and, like, have, like, a pseudo Weezing against, like, Mew, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. You can play it with Sneasler. So I think with Sneasler, this ability does go up to 8 damage counters, which is kind of cool. So I do like this card. It's a fun little meme. Will it see play competitively? Probably not, but it'll be a fun rogue deck to play, and that's what I like, man. I'm a fan of the rogue decks, and I like when they keep printing rogue decks like the Jumpluff and, of course, the Glamora. I'm actually excited for this card now. It's kind of cool. Again, it works with Sneasler. Hey, you can play that new Stadium we just looked at, too, right? So definitely not the worst card ever. The ability definitely will be funny and kind of annoying to play against. Next up, we got Sir Lich here from Clayburst. Stage 1 Pokemon with the attack Life Sucker, doing 50, and then the attack Fighting Sword, doing 100 damage. If your opponent's active is an EX or V, it does 100 more damage. So, Stage 1 Pokemon that can do 200 damage for 2 energy with, like, a double turbo, so 180. Not great, but not bad either. It's not bad to knock out basic V Pokemon with, like, a belt. You can do, like, 210 and play, like, a Lucha or something. Next up, we got Belly Bolt EX. Now, this card was leaked alongside Forretress, which was like a week ago almost, but the card was a little too blurry to read. However, they finally were able to get this card unblurred, and they were able to read it. So what does it do exactly? Well, it's got the attack Jump Press, does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, so nothing crazy. And then, of course, we have Paralyzed Ball, does 160 damage. You may discard 2 lightning from this Pokemon. If you do, your opponent's active is now paralyzed. So it's basically the new age of Luxray V. Now, it is a stage 1, keep in mind. It does have 280 HP, though, which is actually kind of insane. I mean, that's a lot of HP, especially for a card that can paralyze the opponent on a 2 prizers with that much HP. Honestly, it doesn't even sound that bad. Now, it is a better Luxray, in my opinion, because 1, it's got more HP. 2, it does more damage. I mean, 160 is definitely good, as you are 2-shotting stuff a lot of the time. So you're hitting something for paralysis, and then you're like, well, if you don't move out of the paralysis, I'm probably just going to do it again and knock you out. This does, of course, synergize with Flaffy. So you got your new deck right there, Flaffy. Belly Bolt. The only problem is it does have a 3 retreat as opposed to like a 1 retreat or 2 retreat. But I don't hate it. It's definitely not terrible by any means. It's not crazy, but not bad either. And yeah, 160 paralyzed is actually pretty strong. Again, I think the 3 retreat is the thing that kind of balances out a little bit, because it makes it so you can't just like constantly retreat in between belly bolts and like build them up with Flaffy. But definitely a really cool card nonetheless, and I don't mind it. It's not terrible at all. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of all the new cards that got revealed? Obviously, we did get some pretty interesting new cards like the new Spiritomb. Forretress EX, I think, is the big one that is kind of the talk of the town right now, and obviously Spiritomb is too. But what do you think down below? Do you think Spiritomb will be a great counter to Mew, or do you think you just continue to just play Drapion in your deck? Or do you think Forretress is bad for the game? Do you think it's good for the game? I would love to hear all of that down below in the comments. Probably for me on today's video here, looking at all these brand new cards that got revealed, and thanks for watching. Hope you all had a good day. Thanks for watching, and all that good stuff, and I'll catch you all in another video very soon. Bye-bye.